Sorry, I'm late. Overslept this morning. Just got out of hand.
It's okay. I understand. Things happen. Sometimes, it happens. But hold on a minute.
What's going on?
Well, it's what you're wearing. We can't go dressed like that.
What's wrong with my hoodie?
It's fine, but I need to put you up on what's going on. Come with me.
How we looking now?
Much better. Hello, and welcome back to Driven to Drive, inspiration through driver training. My name is Daryl Shepard, and today's video is going to be about driving on the highway. Driving on the highway is a complex issue for a lot of people, especially for new drivers. Sometimes people have a bad experience. They may have experienced, driving out there and they weren't sure of themselves. They get nervous about tractor trailers. They know they're driving at a higher rate of speed. They may not feel comfortable with being able to merge and get on the highway. So we put this video together to be able to give you the information and help you get on the right path and make sure you're a better driver out on the highway. The first thing I want to talk about with driving on the highway is for new drivers, and this whole segment is for new drivers and beginners to make sure you have the right foundation as you start out to get your driver's license and to drive in the future. The first thing I want to talk about is when people are driving on the highway, one of the most difficult things for them to do is to understand the proper way to merge and be able to enter the flow of traffic while they're driving on the highway. I always give students the understanding that you're not going to just be able to drive on the highway one time and think you got it. It really takes a lot of practice, a lot of patience, a lot of different situations to really help develop your confidence and improve your skills out on the highway. A few things that you want to take into consideration whenever you're driving on the highway. Even though safety is always our top priority when I'm training students and making sure that they understand that safety is always the most important thing no matter what we do. But there are some times of the day and situations where things are a little bit more intense, I would say. If you're driving in the morning time, if you're starting out, you're driving between, say, maybe 6:30 in the morning up to about 8:30. There's going to be a population of drivers on the road at that particular time, and everyone is going somewhere. People have to go to work, they have to go to school, they also have doctor's appointments and other engagements that they need to be at, and they have to be on time. So at that time of day, you really have to be sharp and pay attention to your surroundings. People are just starting to get their thoughts together in the morning. They may be reaching over, grabbing for things. They may be trying to fix their hair. They might try to remember that they have a meeting coming up this afternoon. It could be anything. So just take that into account, that when you're driving at that time of the day in the morning, you definitely want to be a little extra careful and extra sharp because you don't want to ruin anyone's day, and then you want to make sure you're safe as well. Also in the afternoons, when it comes to what we call the rush hour time frame, which is around 2:45 when the kids get out of school, and some people get off of work at 3 or 3:30. A lot of people get off at the 4 o'clock time, and you also have people that are going into work that work from 3 to 11. So we see that transition of traffic, all that happens during that day or that time of day. when people are on the road during that time of the day, I call it they bend the rules. So little things that they don't do, like stopping for a complete amount of time, or they may not use their turn signals as they should. So that could cause some things that could throw you off as a driver. You might be unsure if the person is turning, if they're gonna stop, or which direction that they're gonna go. So these are some of the things that you wanna make sure you take into account, because as you work towards getting on the highway, you have to be in the right frame of mind. And also, the main thing that we wanna start off with right now is being able to merge with the traffic on the highway. So there's a few things you wanna make sure that you do when you drive on the highway or you're entering to the highway. You really have to pay close attention to the ramp where you get on, the entrance ramp, and that's where you want to develop your speed. They do have a sign that's a small square-shaped sign with a number on it usually. Could be for an exit. You'll see those in different areas. So it gives you a speed that you need to be at as you're trying to enter onto the highway. So whenever you see that sign, your speedometer should be at the same number at that time, because that's what is recommended by the people that design the highway, and make sure that you have the right speed as you merge and enter in. But as you gradually pick up your speed and you go to merge, you want to make sure that your mirrors are always set in the proper position. I always tell my students, if you're moving and merging to your left, you have to make sure you look in that left mirror, and always, always, always check the blind spot. If you're merging to the left, you're gonna look over your left shoulder like this. You wanna make sure that you control your steering while you look over your shoulder. The car can't swerve and come out of position. That could be very dangerous. So you have to be thinking about that before you go into that situation, and the car doesn't lose control. You don't want it to rock or move when you go to look over your shoulder. So you're just turning your head to the left like this. Now, if you're in a situation where you're merging to the right, because sometimes they have exits in both directions, or entrance where you can enter the ramp to the left or you can enter the ramp to the right. If you're going to either way, you're going to look in your right mirror and then look over your right shoulder if you're going in that direction. So you just want to make sure that you have that complete mindset as you go towards being able to drive on the highway. The next thing that I want to talk about when merging and driving on the highway is speed control. In the state of Pennsylvania, we have a wide range of speeds that you want to make sure that you keep in mind. They usually start off sometimes lower around 45, and then you'll see 50 miles per hour. You will also see 55 miles per hour, and then you'll see 65 and even 70 miles per hour in the state of Pennsylvania. So what people have been asking me for a long time is, how many miles can I go over the speed limit? So if you see it posted on a sign at 55, for example, I always tell people you can travel between 55 to 60, because you don't want to go beyond the 5 mile per hour threshold. If you do see that, you should start coming back down or keeping it close to whatever that is. I think even law enforcement may overlook that and kind of give you a little bit of flexibility, because you're in motion, you're driving, you have to lane change and look for other traffic. So just don't go up to 10. I've heard people say that if it's 50, then they should go 60. They can go up to 60. I wouldn't recommend that. Just remember that if you do choose to do so, you could be held accountable for that, and they could issue a speeding ticket. So that could go on your record. A speeding ticket could be not only the citation you have to pay for, but it adds points to your driving license and your driving record, which will get shown to the insurance company, and they could possibly increase your insurance rate for reckless driving or just going too fast. In certain cases, some states are more strict than others, and they have a strict legal process that if you get a ticket or a citation, you may have to get legal representation, you may have to go to court, you might have to pay a fine. It can be very extensive. But in Pennsylvania, we just recommend that you are safe and understand what your speed is. They may give you a ticket if you're speeding, and then you can pay for that. And then over a course of time, it'll be removed off of your driving record. So we just want to make sure you have that information. Next, I want to talk about the traffic flow that you will encounter whenever you're driving on the highway. One of the big things I hear from a lot of my students and other people that I talk to are the tractor trailers and the truck drivers. Even though they have motorcyclists out there that could be aggressive at times, and watch out for motorcyclists, it's not easy for them as well. So I just want to make sure that we are safe for everyone that's out on the road. We have to share the road. But in terms of tractor trailers, because of the size and the magnitude of things that they're transporting on the highway all the time, people get a little uncomfortable with truck drivers. They may have heard stories, they may have seen things, they may have experienced different things on the highway with trucks. So they have a tough job to do out on the highway as well. So always have understanding that is a person in that truck, and they're trying to do their job, and they don't want to make things difficult for you. So always take that into consideration. The first thing you want to do is make sure that you're in visible places when you drive around tractor trailers. One of the most common ones is if you're in back of the tractor trailer and you're on the highway, just remember he may not be able to see you if you're following too closely. So make sure you keep a comfortable amount of space, or a certain amount of space where you feel is comfortable. And if you can't see that truck driver's head mirrors, then he may not be able to see you and be aware that you're in his rear view. So take that into consideration to keep some distance. Also, they make turns that are a little bit unusual because the way they have to arch the turn with the truck, and make sure they make turns safely. But just make sure that you keep these things in mind as you learn to drive on the highway. The truck drivers are not all bad, okay? But I hear people all the time, they make it seem like the truck drivers are bad. But, they have a job to do, and you want to be considerate to everyone on the road. Next, I want to talk about the ability to take the exit. Once you've been on the highway for a while and you're taking the exit, sometimes you'll need to stop and get gas. If you have a short trip within the area, it may not be as significant, but if you're going and traveling for long distances and you're going into multiple states or places that you're not familiar with, you don't want to run out of gas on the highway, so eventually you're going to have to take an exit. When you take the exit, you have to make sure that you pay attention to your exit numbers. Sometimes the exit numbers will be posted. If you see the exit number and it's leaning or positioned in the upper right part of the sign, that means your exit is going to be on the right side of the road. If you see an exit and it's positioned on the left side of the sign in the upper left corner, then that means your exit is going to be on the left. So these are some of the things that will help you make better decisions, and so that you don't get lost, and you can make sure that you can take the exit properly that you need to take. Some exits will require you to pay a toll if you go into an easy pass lane and things like that. It can be a little bit complicated, so you want to make sure that you pay attention and make sure, because you can be billed if you go through an easy pass toll and you don't have an easy pass account. They will take a picture and send you an invoice in the mail that you would have to pay. So driving on the highway, when you take that exit, it's important to understand how to take the exits properly. Stay in between the lines at all times, anytime that you drive. And as you're taking the exit, you pay attention to signs that are in yellow. Those are your warning signs. Those are the signs that are telling you the speed to go to. And then also there's a merging sign, which you'll see with the arrow connected to it, where you can merge to the left when you take the exit, or whatever you need to. Usually the merging one is when you come on, but when you get off, there's some additional information, and you have to go around there and then merge to get off to go to another highway, to another area that you need to arrive at. So just make sure that you're paying close attention to every detail when you're taking the exit as well, so that way you don't get lost and waste time, which will waste gas, and it can be very frustrating. So I want to make sure you have a full understanding when you're getting your license and you're driving on the highway. And the final subject I want to make sure that I address in this video is the ability to understand about heavy equipment trucks, which is a rare situation. You might see it, you might not see it. I'm on the highway every day training students. It's a part of what I do, and I want to make sure that everyone is aware of these types of situations. When there's a heavy equipment truck, it could be those what we call earth movers, the very large vehicles that help excavate the land, and also for builders. They have the very heavy equipment trucks that you cannot drive on a regular road, so they're actually transported. I've seen parts of homes, big large parts of a house, It says oversized load on the back. They usually have an escort vehicle in the front. They have one in the back. So always just make sure that you're paying close attention to those things, because you don't want to squeeze in between the escort vehicle and you don't want to, make any mistakes out there. And the last thing I want to mention as well is to make sure you always use your turn signals. That is a big part of driving. You want to be a good communicator. The better you communicate, the safer everyone will be. Thank you for watching today's video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.